Welcome to the hottest spot for information, where you'll feel the burn as we conversate with some interesting individuals about their careers. Listen and burn some ideas for your future, or just tag along. I'm your host, Chloe Burns, and today we burn the career of a restaurateur, or restaurant entrepreneur, with our guest, Ricardo Casillas. How are you today, Mr. Ricardo?
Good, and you?
Pretty good. So let's just get started from the beginning. Who are you? What was your life before getting into the restaurant business? Your background.
My name is Ricardo Casillas. I'm from a small town in Mexico. My town name is San Miguel Alto. I came in the United States in 1981. I didn't like to cook back then. I didn't even know that I was gonna end up having a restaurant and dealing with so many people in my life, in my career as a restaurant owner. There's something that just happened. I just start having a love for cooking and food, and start having a dream of owning my own restaurant one day. And here I am.
Yeah, I think you did pretty well.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know, Ricardo has Ricardo's Kouzinna in Madison, Georgia. So I want to talk to you about your biggest challenges. What's like the biggest thing, or what's the hardest thing that you faced when you were starting everything? Was there a moment you wanted to give up?
There were many times that I wanted to give up, especially when I opened my first restaurant here in Madison. The restaurant name was Tequila Express Cafe. It took me probably more than a year to establish my business, and I was commuting from Beaufort, Georgia, driving hour and a half each way, and for a year and a half I was not making any money, so I was using all my savings, and many times I was thinking to give up, but something inside of me was telling me that it was gonna work, that keep trying, keep going, do your best, and it'll get paid off.
Okay.
And eventually you start seeing some progress on my business, getting more customers, more business, but many times I was trying to give up.
It's definitely not easy. But you mentioned that you started seeing like the benefits. So what are some of the like benefits that you saw in creating your own restaurant?
Well, the benefits, it was that I was my own boss. It's difficult because you're your own boss, but at the same time, sometimes you don't get paid. You have to make sure that you pay all your employees, but you don't make any money. But the benefit is when you start seeing that your business is going up, you're getting more business, more sales, more revenue, and start making a little bit of money, then you start getting paid, and you can take time off when you want it or when you need it. You don't have to ask anybody for permission to be off.
Mm-hmm. You make your own schedule.
Yes.
So have you seen any like impact with your community? Like, what's your relationship changed with Madison?
I feel very blessed in Morgan County. I feel like we are getting a lot of support from people in Morgan County. Just a brief description of when COVID-19, we had to close for dining, and we were doing just to-go orders. And a lot of people will come and will order food to go, and they were helping the servers, giving extra tips to make sure that everybody was getting some money to survive during the difficult times. And I feel like it's a payback it's a mutual payback. I help the community, I help as much as I can, and the community pay me back, coming to eat and supporting in a lot of different ways.
Have you found yourself in relationships that you never thought you'd be in with the community? Like, do you know the mayor of Madison because you own this restaurant and stuff like relationships like that?
Probably because I own the restaurant. I know a lot of people in Madison. Maybe if I didn't have this restaurant and my career was different, probably I would not know that many people. But since I have the restaurant, I've seen many people coming in, and I go to a lot of social events, and I get to meet a lot of wonderful people in Morgan County.
I know everyone always mentions Mr. Ricardo whenever they're just, where you want to go in town is Ricardo's. Go see Mr. Ricardo. He'll take care of you. So for someone wanting to get into the restaurant business, how would you say that they start going about it?
Well, it's very difficult. You have to have a lot of dedication. You have to have the passion of love people, love what you do. If it's not in your blood, I think if you decided to open a restaurant and you don't like people, you don't like to do what you do, it's going to be a big mistake, because eventually it's going to show on your business that you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
So you really have to have a lot of dedication, consistency, and be positive all the time, because every day is different.
Mm-hmm. So what's a typical day in the restaurant then?
Okay, me, I like to overview every detail in the restaurant business, and we've been growing during the years. We're doing a lot of catered events, and I like to know everything, what's going on in the restaurant. I'm the first one to come, and most of the times I'm the last one to leave. I come in the morning, I check my inventory in the kitchen, I see what I need to order for the next day. I look on my calendar, what events do we have, what needs to be done, and I delegate to other people the things that need to be done during the day.
I mean, it's your child, really. Like, this is your business. You want to make sure it's run right.
That's right, and I'm very impatient. When I ask for something to be done, it needs to be done right away. I don't like to wait for 1 day or 2 days. When I tell somebody this needs to be done, it needs to be done.
You're asking for it to be done, yeah. But would you recommend the restaurant business for everyone? Like, are there certain people that probably shouldn't go this route, or people that should?
Well, restaurant business is not for everybody. A lot of people tell me, I do a lot of cooking at home, I think I can open a restaurant. It's completely different. When you're at home, you're cooking, you have no pressure from anybody. You're taking your own time to cook at home. And if it doesn't come out good, doesn't come out good.
No one's going to write a review on it.
Yeah. When you have a restaurant, you have to make sure that everything is done on time, and consistency and quality is very important.
What are some major ideals that you instill in your employees? It's like, what do you harp that they must have?
Well, number one, I expect that customer service, I always expect from everybody 150%, so we can get 80 or 90%. I think if you expect 80 or 90% from everybody, your expectations are going to be lower. Yeah. So you always have to expect high.
Mm-hmm. Aim high, like shoot high.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you balance running a restaurant with your personal life? Because it can be very demanding.
It is very demanding. Sometimes I think I wish I can have a little bit more time for the family. We try to spend as much time as I can with them. We take 2 or 3 vacations a year. Sometimes they short 3 or 4 days, but
something.
But we try to take it 2 or 3 times during the year.
So, what have you found yourself sacrificing, especially when you were starting out with everything?
Well, I think the first sacrifice that you make when you open a restaurant is your family, especially when you have kids, small kids. You don't spend much time with them. I remember when I opened the first restaurant here in Madison, I leave my house when they were sleeping, and I would come back home when they were sleeping. So I regret not spending enough time with my younger kids.
English.
But that's why it's hard to tell somebody that they need to open a restaurant, or if somebody wants to open a restaurant, there's always a lot of cons. Open a restaurant, you have to sacrifice your life a lot.
Yeah. So has it changed? Like, has it gotten a lot better now that Ricardo's has more stabilized and become a everyday part of the community?
Well, I think personally, I'm getting a lot busier because, like I say, I like to be involved in every detail of the restaurant. And one of my biggest problem is sometimes I don't trust people that they're gonna do the work the way it needs to be done, and I'm always worried and concerned, and that's why I have to spend a lot of time here to make sure that everything is gonna be the way it has to be, in my opinion.
So what are the key factors in customer service? How do you make sure that your clients are getting the best possible care?
But first of all, you try to implement to every employee that customer service is the number one key on this business. Because if you don't have a good customer service, they're gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And every server has to be friendly and very attentive to every single customer that walks into the restaurant.
Going back to everything, as like a little closing out, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself? If you could change something that you did before or change something that you're doing now, what is something that you tell yourself?
Probably balance your life. Do your work, spend time at your business, but find a way to spend time with the family. And it's very difficult. So if I maybe learn how to delegate to other people more and give everybody responsibilities, it will be easier for me to balance my life between business and family.
Yeah, but trusting other people is very difficult.
Well, not everybody has the mentality of the urgency. Restaurant business is really urgency. When you need something, needs to be done. And also pay attention on details. Like I can be sitting talking to somebody, and I can see if it's customers on the restaurant, I can see who doesn't have a drink or who has plates on the table, even when I'm talking to somebody.
It takes an eye to really...
Yes, and a lot of people don't have that vision or that mentality of paying attention to small details that for some people is no big deal, but for customers, it can be a big deal.
It's their entire experience at that point. So let's end on a lighter note. And what's your favorite part of having Ricardo's?
My favorite part is that I got to meet so many people in Morgan County and talk to almost every customer that comes to the restaurant. Sometimes it's busy. I don't have the time to go to every table and spend at least a minute or two on each table, but I'll try to do that every day and every night. Do my round, sometimes 2 or 3 times during the business hours to go and talk to every one of my customers.
Building the relationship with the community. I know I want to know who's running the establishment, so it's really nice that you take your time to do that. Well, that wraps up my questions. I definitely felt the burn today, and I hope you did too. Thank you, Mr. Ricardo, for your time and knowledge, because the more we hear, the more we learn. Have a great morning, afternoon, or night, and I'll burn you next time.
I appreciated the opportunity to be here.